After the departure of script editor Eric Saywood, John Nathan Turner had the task of finding a suitable replacement. He found his answer in an up-and-coming writer named Andrew Cartmel. Cartmel was hired and the two set about working on Doctor Who's 24th season. Together with Colin Baker and Bonnie Langford, the two planned to usher in a new era for the show and hoped that this would be the start of a new and improved 6th Doctor. Little did they know that only one of the four of them would be around for one more year, whether they liked it or not. To help start this new era, several changes were made to the show. As well as receiving a brand new logo designed by Oliver Elms, the show also received a brand new title sequence made entirely by CGI, as well as a new theme tune, composed by incoming composer Kev McCulloch. There was a downside to this season, however, as more budget cuts meant less episodes than before. Michael Gray still also had his eye on the show, making sure it kept its nose clean, and was prepared to make any changes he deemed fit. The stories for season 24 consisted of 14 25-minute episodes, split across 4 stories. Writing couple of season 22, Pip and Jane Baker, would write episode 1, Philip Martin would write episode 2, newcomer Russell T Davies would write episode 3, and returning writer Christopher H. Bidmead would write the finale. Nicholas Mallet would direct episode 1, with Graham Harper directing episode 2, and Robert Gabriel would direct episodes 3 and 4. The season would begin on the 3rd of January at 5:45 on a Saturday night and would run until the 4th of April. The Case of Rani would have acted as Mel's first story and would follow on not long after the Children of January. The story sees the two of them arriving on a luxury space cruiser where they find a series of murders going on and people vanishing, so the Doctor and Mel decide to investigate. It turns out that the Rani is responsible. She is kidnapping people and experimenting on them and turning them into plant-like creatures named Vervoids. In the end, the Rani's experiments are stopped, with the Vervoids being wiped out and the Rani escaping the space cruiser in their TARDIS before the Doctor can stop her. Doomwraiths would have been about a race of aliens named the Doomwraiths. In this story, we learn that the Doomwraiths populated the Earth with their own genetic code in order to save their dying species millions of years ago. However, something went wrong, as they didn't evolve into their design and they created the human race. The story sees the Doomwraiths re-emerging to discover that life on Earth did not evolve to their design. Now they wish to start again, which means wiping out the human race. The story puts the Doctor in a difficult situation where he has to choose between helping the Doomwraiths survive or saving the human race. Naturally, the Doctor ends up choosing to side with the human race and ends up stopping the Doomwraiths from wiping out humanity. Mind of the Hodiac would have been about an entity named the Hodiac, a single consciousness that was divided into two. We learn that the two aspects are born on different worlds to each other, where they'll adopt into an appropriate life form and live their life until they die and the cycle repeats. We see that one aspect of the Hodiac, a female, is living on Earth and is an elderly woman who has raised a family and always tries to do things for good. Meanwhile, we see that the other aspect, a male, is trying to cheat death and become a god. The story sees the male Hodiac manipulating the space market so that gold is more expensive so that he can sell his piles of gold for profit and hire space mercenaries. He also plans to cheat death and become a god by merging with the other half of the Hodiac and uniting their minds. Eventually, however, the male aspect is defeated when it attempts to merge with its other half. However, we see that because the female Hodiac had created its own family, its mind was extended into the family and it became something more. And since the male aspect is only one consciousness, its mind is destroyed. The Hollows of Time would have saw the return of Anthony Ainley as the Master, as well as the Tractators from Season 21's Frontios. The story would have been set in a village named Halladine, where we would have saw the Master posing as a professor named Professor Stream. We would have saw the Master collecting Tractators and using them to warp time, so that he can eventually control space and time itself. Eventually, however, the Master is defeated by the Doctor and Mel along with the Tractators. Originally, this story was meant to be the 5th story in season 23, however it was held back due to budget cuts. When it came time to plan season 24, Nathan Turner made sure that Bidmead's script saw the light of day as the season finale. And so came an end to season 24. By this stage, Doctor Who's future was starting to become uncertain, with viewing figures on a slow decline, the stories of this season receiving mixed reactions, and many fans not liking Mel. Fan reactions were mixed on a whole, as shown in Doctor Who magazine and an open air show on BBC One. One thing that was agreed, however, was that the 6th Doctor was now on the right track, with a more stable balance of all the right elements. However, disaster soon struck for Doctor Who. By this stage, John Nathan Turner was more than ready to leave Doctor Who, and it seemed that this time his wish would come true, as he was told that he would be allowed to move on, so long he did one final thing: fire Colin Baker. On the 15th of February 1987, Nathan Turner phoned up Colin Baker to deliver the bad news that he was no longer required and that he's been forced to fire him. After what was most likely one of Nathan Turner's darkest hours, he was summoned to meet with head of drama Jonathan Powell, who delivered him more bad news, that he was to remain on as the producer of Doctor Who for season 25. Nathan Turner found himself yet again in the position of casting a new Doctor. Many actors were considered for the role of the 7th Doctor, from Ken Campbell to Chris Jory. However, there was one name that stuck out to the producer as the right man for the job: a relatively unknown actor. An actor named Sylvester McCoy.